You know, when I first saw Pudding, you know, at the end of the Fishman Island arc, when, you know, Luffy decides to threaten one of the most powerful pirates in the world. Good move on your part there, Luffy. How well did that work? Oh yeah, you got your face beaten in by a mochi guy in a mirror world. Yeah, good job, buddy. But first time we see Pudding, you know, we see that little glimpse of Big Mom sitting in the giant chair, like devouring her subordinates. We get to see Bobbin, and then we see this girl off to the side. You know, that girl, Nitro the Jelly, is with her there too. She's got 3 eyes, and I remember thinking very distinctly, she's got big knockers. How far have we come, ladies and gentlemen? Right, so Charlotte Pudding. Now, I've made videos about her before. I made that video, like, discussing the Big Mom pirates in general, but I feel with this last chapter and everything, you know, coming to a head with the baking of the giant uber super cake and all, and we've really gotten a feel for what Oda's trying to do now with her, like, what's her little quirk, her little gimmick, what it's going to be. I feel like I can make a whole video dedicated to her. It's really funny on how her character has changed from the beginning of the arc where we thought she was going to be an ally to when it was set up that she was going to be like a side antagonist of the arc, you know, along with the Sweet Commanders and even like Beige for a moment there. We didn't really know which side he was on. But then so we see Pudding and revealing her true colors to Reiju, and we're like, okay, she's going to be like one of the main opponents that the Straw Hats are going to fight against. And then you had the whole event at the wedding with her and Sanji, which has now led her to be an ally, but with like a split personality that is an enemy, but still kind of helping out. It's really screwy, and I really feel like Oda's doing a lot of this. I feel like it's not going to cohere in anything meaningful. I don't think Oda's going to have this be something really relevant. I feel like it's just there for comedic effect, to have it be kind of funny that she, you know, goes from her sweet pudding persona where she's so innocent and cute, and whenever Sanji, you know, compliments her even in the slightest, she passes out from intense, you know, an infatuation with him, and then she switches over to Dark Pudding, who is like the ultimate yandere that just wants to beat the shit out of Sanji for daring to compliment her. You know, you could say that might lead to something, but I just don't think it is. I think that's just a cutesy little thing that Oda's doing here. It's a little bit of a shame, if we're being honest with ourselves here, because I would have expected her to have at least a solid fight in the arc. You know, something along those lines. Maybe against one of the Vinsmokes or something, because she directly threatened Reiju. But, yeah, we didn't really get anything like that. Even her devil fruit, the Memo no Mi, really didn't start becoming, you know, useful until the last few chapters. There was a lot of theories around that. How she was going to use the Memo no Mi, how, you know, she might not actually be allied with Big Mom, or that Big Mom's memories might be altered by her. You know, like Big Mom, the whole reason that she keeps Pudding around, the whole reason that Pudding is so important to her, is that Pudding is a member of the Third Eye clan, a clan that was just mentioned, as she's the only one that is part of it. Actually, she's not even really a complete Third Eye, because she, you know, you would be half that. So Big Mom got it on with a full member of the Third Eye clan, and then, you know, gave birth to Pudding, who would be half human, half Third Eye. But apparently the Third Eye clan is really important because they have the ability to like tap into that ability that Roger and Luffy had, to hear the voices of all things. Or maybe a better way to describe it is using their eyes. They could read anything, or like see the true message hidden behind any word or any like message or anything like that. So the bottom line is that she would be able to decipher the road poneglyphs. That's the reason Big Mom is, you know, keeps her around and so important to her. Right, so there's that, but there were a lot of people thinking that maybe that's not even the case. Maybe she doesn't have that power. She was just manipulating Big Mom's memory or anything like that. Anytime you have a character that has the ability to alter memories, you have these kind of thoughts. And we haven't exactly disregarded some of those. I mean, it's entirely possible she could be playing the long game here. She could have manipulated somebody's memories in Totland, and it could be like a big shocker. But so far from what we've seen, the only time she's used her memo powers were to introduce the concept of them on Reiju. She removed the images of her, you know, revealing her true evil self to Reiju, and then replaced them with something else. And then she used her ability Flashback Fill spell on the seducing woods, so that they could remember the memories about when they were, part of their human, bodies, because the soul fruit takes out the souls of a human and deposits it in a homie, but using this ability, they were able to reawaken those memories that they had forgotten. And then, most recently, in the last chapter, she used the ability again to remove the memories of the cooks on Whole Cake Island and replace them with something else, so that they don't get, it makes sense that Sanji's there trying to help make the cake, and they don't think Sanji's a traitor or anything like that. So we've only seen her use this power 3 times. Right? So, yeah, it's not a combat-based ability. It doesn't seem to be an ability that you could really, use all too well when you're in the middle of a fight. The flashback ability she used, to cover a wide area. Otherwise, it was only, limited to one person. I would assume that whenever you're using this ability, the Memo no Mi, over a wide area, you can't really choose, what you're editing or adding or taking out or anything like that. It's more of just a generic ability, reawaken all your past memories. For example, maybe she could use the ability to reawaken, childhood traumas or something over a wide area, so everyone, succumbs to, their childhood fears. For me, it would be that time when I was 7 years old and I was swarmed by a bunch of wasps, and then immediately ran screaming down the street. I was being stung multiple times. Yeah, I don't want to relive that. I feel like if I was in the middle of fighting and I relived that moment, I'd be like, no, God, no. So it's something like that. She can't control the exact memory, though. But if it's one-on-one, she can apparently just rip out the entire, string of memories that are represented by, a film strip, and then she can cut them, and maybe she requires scissors to use the fruit. I don't know. It's kind of like Gecko Moria's. How Gecko Moria will, rip out the shadow, peel it off the ground, but then he actually has to take a physical pair of scissors and cut the shadow. It seems like with Pudding, she needs a pair of scissors to actually physically cut the memories out of a person's head, and then, snip, edit them, and then add in the new memories. But the process seems fairly quick to her. It doesn't seem to be that difficult for her to do that if it's one-on-one. And when somebody has the memories removed, even if it's somebody physically strong, Reiju is badass. Reiju would be able to beat up Pudding in a straight-up fisticuffs, no problem. But when she removes the memories, it kind of makes you go brain dead for a little bit, because somebody's literally messing around with your mind, and they can't move for that moment. And then after they get their memories reattached and edited and put back in their body, they're like, oh, what was going on? Oh, right, what were we doing again? Oh, right, we were riding a magical unicorn, right? I forgot about that. Today's the day we ride a magical unicorn. Well, let's get going. Yeah, so it doesn't seem to be that useful in combat unless you can get really close to your opponent, or unless you, use that generic, just fill up your memories and overload your mind. But beyond that, I mean, Pudding herself seems physically weak. I don't think she knows hockey or anything like that. But we're not here just to talk about the devil fruit power. We're also here to talk about her little split personality thing she has going on. So, basically, Pudding, her childhood worked out like this, and this doesn't really make a lot of sense given what we know about the background of Totland and the background of Big Mom's children. But okay, let's go with it anyway. So, Pudding was a 3-eyed girl, and she was teased because of this. She was made fun of constantly. She was bullied by the other children, and she basically turned just a touch homicidal, just a touch. Every kid goes through that phase where they pick up a butcher knife and... yeah, whatever, it happens. Okay, so anyway, she started mercilessly stabbing the people that bullied her, but you could tell it also bothered her. It wasn't like she went full psychopath. She still, was crying and upset, it was just like, you made fun of me, it's not like I'm just gonna forgive you for that. Right. And, Big Mom, that's her mother, but no solace there. Big Mom is not the kind of person to care about, emotionally with her kids. It's not like that moment where it's like, Mom, I need some advice. Some kids are bullying me. Big Mom, she's not that kind of mother. She's not going to be like, okay, Pudding, sit down. I don't know why I'm giving Big Mom a gruff old man voice, but all right, let's just roll with it. All right, sit down here, Pudding. Let Big Mom tell you about how to use those bullets. You just gotta make sure that nothing that they're doing bothers you, and they'll eventually stop. I don't know. Actually, she did the exact opposite. She made it worse. Even though Big Mom needs Pudding's ability, Big Mom basically just went out of her way to make fun of Pudding. Just like, oh my god, you're so grotesque with the third eye. Oh man, get that out of here. You look freaky, girl. How did you even come out of me? That's actually where a lot of the theories come from, where she tampered with Big Mom's memories, and she can't actually use the third about to read poneglyphs or anything. Maybe it's just an aesthetic thing. It's just that she's from a tribe of people in One Piece that have 3 eyes. I mean, it makes about as much sense as the Snake Neck tribe or the Long Arms or whatever. I mean, there's a race of fish people living under the ocean. There's a race of winged people living in the sky. 3-eyed people, not that weird. So maybe that's why she was modifying Big Mom's memories, so that, oh, I'm gonna make Mama feel like, you know, I'm really important, and then she'll stop making fun of me, which didn't even work because she still kind of makes fun of her. And something else, though, that I have to bring up that I don't really get about Pudding's backstory is that it isn't that weird. We know all about the One Piece world. There's fishmen, there's mermen, there's giants, there's long arms and long legs and people with giant necks, and there's dwarves, and you know, like, there's all these unique, colorful characters throughout the One Piece world, and people are gonna shit on Pudding for have a third eye? Like, that just, doesn't that seem a little weird to you? Like, that's the thing that they would pick to make fun of, and this is supposed to be Totland. This is supposed to be the place where all the races of all the worlds come together to make fun of. Maybe it's like, there's already, like, so many other races in Totland that they're used to it, so maybe Pudding is one of a kind. She's probably the only Third Eye tribe member in all of Totland, so that's why the kids, like, zoned in on her. Like, well, you know, there's like 12 fishmen and 10 dwarves and 2 minks in our class, so I guess we'll make fun of the one girl that has 3 eyes. You know, she's the odd girl out there. But it just seems odd that they would make fun of, you know, Pudding for having a third eye in a country that's supposed to tolerate all races of all the world, just accept everybody. To the point where even, I mean, kids are dicks, but to the point where Big Mom would even kind of make fun of her. It's a little odd, I will say. But anyway, so she kind of grew up developing this hatred for everybody, you know, like, everyone's a liar, everyone's trying to make fun of me, nobody cares about me. So, you know, that's her real personality, but she also had to create this persona to kind of manipulate people. Sweet Pudding, as we'll call her. You know, the adorable Pudding who puffs out her cheeks. I'm like, oh, gee willikers, mister, you know, I can't believe you're the Straw Hat Crew. You know, that, like, oh, I love Sanji so much, we have so much in common, we're gonna get married, and it's gonna be fabulous. You know, that kind of Pudding. She had to create that character when in reality she was evil, you know, okay? But from what we've seen, how this works is she kind of pulled the Puss in Boots transcend the mask thing, where, you know, she played this character, played this persona so many times, it literally did become part of her, as in now she has a split personality, switching back and forth between these. And most recently, it seemed to be triggered by Sanji. So way to go for triggering Pudding, Sanji. So at the wedding, Pudding was all ready to, you know, open up her veil, the third eye. Sanji would see it. He would immediately freak out, like, oh my god, third eye! And then that's the moment where she pulls out a candy-coated round and blows his freaking head off. However, Sanji, being Sanji, after glaring at Pudding's third eye, was not disgusted by it. He actually found it very dashing and says, oh my god, you're gorgeous. Your third eye's beautiful. And that just... So Pudding didn't really know how to react from this, and I feel like that's the moment where her two personalities just kind of smack together, and now we have our current paradigm. Whenever, like, in the last chapter, it was hilarious. Whenever Sanji was complimenting Pudding and, like, seeing her in the chef's outfit, and, like, one compliment from Sanji was enough for Pudding's, like, entire head to, like, ignite, you know, like, it reminded me of Kirby. Remember playing Kirby, whenever he got hit by a fiery enemy, Kirby would, like, explode into, like, a fireball and, like, bounce back. That's what it reminded me of. Like, it's like, oh yeah, Pudding's pretty cute. I can't bear it! And so Pudding passes out, but then gets right back up and whips out the middle finger at freaking Sanji, like, yeah, but don't think you can order me around like you're my husband and I'm gonna be the obedient wife. So, you know, there's been, I said tsundere, I said yandere, and people have corrected me on this. I think she's a little bit of both, actually. you know, like tsundere in the sense of like, you know, like, oh yeah, it's not like I like you or anything, Sanji, you know, she plays that card, but then she also plays the card of just, I kind of want to beat you over the head with a spiked flail, you know, like that kind of thing too. So she's this new thing we have to create a word for now, and it's just messing up all, you know, previously established anime tropes. I don't know how to deal with it. So, well, what do you guys think about that? Do you think that's gonna play an actual role in the story? Like, they're getting ready to bring in the cake, and everything looks like it's gonna be working out, like Big Mom's right about to eat the cake, and then all of a sudden, Evil Pudding rears her ugly head and decides to screw the whole thing up. I think it's pretty clear we're not going to see a fight or anything with her at this point in the story, because Totland's almost done. But, yeah, I don't know. What do you guys, you know, what do you think about that there? I don't know. And, I guess we'll close this out for the future with Pudding. You know, is Pudding going to, what's she going to do? Now, here's the thing. I mean, she right now, if she's found out to be helping Sanji, allying with Chiffon, who's also a traitor, you'd think, well, she would be a traitor too, and all of Totland would be after her head. See, the thing is, though, using her ability, it's not that big of a deal. She can alter the memories of Big Mom and everybody. Maybe she does have, like, just a generic, widespread ability that can just affect everybody's memories. Although I don't think she has that, because if that was the case, why would she, you know, ask each one of the chefs to come in one at a time and replace their memories if she could just gather them all in and just, you know, wipe their memories and replace them with something else at the same time? But it is possible. It is possible using her ability that she could still live in Totland and nobody would be none the wiser. I don't even think all of Totland even knows the whole story about what went down on Whole Cake Island. So, you know, you can maybe make that work if it was contained, okay? So that's the case. That's one option. After the situation with the cake and everything, that she stays on the island. Whether she stays on the island because she wants to, or because she's forced to, that's another debate. Because I could totally see a moment where, like, the Straw Hats are all getting ready to go, like, Big Mom's eating her cake, she's satiated, maybe Luffy somehow manages to escape Katakuri, they're all on the Sunny, they're ready to go, they're like, alright, let's get the hell out of Totland. And then you see Pudding there on the flying magical carpet, like, wait, Sanji, I want to go with you! And then all the Straw Hats and Jinbei and Carrot, they kind of look up at her, and then right at that moment she goes, you know, I'm gonna kill you all! And everyone just kind of collectively looks at her and just like, oh, hell no! And then Kune bursts away! And then Pudding's like, what? Now look. Sanji does care for Pudding. Not as much as Nami, but, you know, he still does care for Pudding. She doesn't want Pudding to get hurt. She doesn't want Pudding to feel sad or alone. So here's the thing, and I'm throwing this out there. I'm just gonna present it. Pudding travels with the Straw Hats to Wano, and then after the events of Wano, she stays on Wano. Do you think that could work? I think maybe that could work. We can maybe get a little bit more of her. We can get her little comedic, you know, quirky thing, you know, back and forth. For another arc, you know, Oda could do something with that. We could expand more about her memories. We could expand more about her backstory. She might have some hints for Big Mom taking her on in the future. But, yeah, I'm not on board for having Pudding on board. I'm not on board for making the Pudster a permanent member of the crew. But, hey, you know what? If she wants to tag along for another arc, yeah, alright, fine. I mean, I've honestly warmed up to her a little bit. After the events of the wedding, I mean, when the wedding was going on, I'm like, oh my god, this woman is a bunt. Which is the combination of two curse words that I'm really not allowed to say on YouTube anymore, but she is a bunt. But, I don't know, I mean, honestly speaking, she hasn't really done anything from then to now that really changes anything, you know, she's still, you know, whatever, but at least she's making an effort, you know, she's making an effort, but whatever, at least since then, she's actually tried to help the Straw Hats and get them out of there, despite her other personality getting in the way, but, you know, so she's trying, she hasn't, like, completely wiped her slate clean, of everything that she's done. You know, shooting Sanji's sister in the leg, that was kind of a bunty move. It's gonna take a long time for me to forgive that one. You don't damage legs as sexy and as awesome as Reijun. You just get off, woman, okay? Like, this is going to take some time to forgive that. I mean, those things were pristine. But okay, yeah. I think that's gonna go down. I think that's gonna go down. Or she's just gonna decide to stay in Totland to allow Sanji to get away. That's another option. Like, oh, I need to stay here to make sure Big Mom doesn't chase after you, alter her memories or something after she eats the cake. I gotta do something like that. I could see that going down too. But those are the only options I can see. Either staying on the island because she wants to protect Sanji, staying on the island because she's forced to, basically the Straw Hats ditch her, or journeying with the Straw Hats to Wano, maybe having an adventure there, and then staying on Wano for the rest of the story. But what do you guys think? What do you think about Charlotte Pudding? What do you think about her relationship with Sanji, her relationship with the Big Mom Pirates? They really were mean to her. I mean, overall, she doesn't really have any reason to stay. And if she does leave, and if she did have the ability to actually read poneglyphs, then Big Mom would be a massive blow to Big Mom, like huge, like on top of destroying the wedding cake, on top of screwing up the marriage, on top of everything else, taking the one person that could read the other road poneglyphs away from you. I mean, that'd be a like triple, quadruple whammy there for Big Mom's ego. But anyway, yeah, just let me know what you think below about pudding. And what's your favorite kind of pudding? What do you like? What do you like? Do you prefer the vanilla pudding or do you prefer the chocolate pudding? Or maybe you like to combine the pudding together. Maybe you like to make some like weird combination of the pudding with dual personalities. It's actually pretty damn good. Signing out, everybody.